Hello, and welcome to our grow room, which is really our furnace room, which is an ideal growing environment for any warm weather crops indoors. Here we have from left to right a Gypsy hybrid pepper plant. It's a Cubanelle type. We have several Aji pepper plants. We have two Ayuyos, one Cachucha and one Golden. In the back we have a Teddy Dwarf dill and some bunching onions. We've never grown dill or bunching onions in hydro before, so this is an experiment for us. We don't anticipate any problems. They've been doing fine thus far. And on the right I have a tomato plant that I'm growing out for my dad. He'll be picking it up next week when he comes to visit. It is a Dwarf Firebird sweet tomato. The seeds, or I should say the plant, originated with the Dwarf Tomato Project. So it's really cool. It's a very strong grower. I'm quite impressed. We're growing another type as well. It doesn't seem to be quite as strong a grower. I'll move that into the frame so you can get a look at it. This one is called Tasty Wine. They were planted on the same day, same growing medium. This particular one, the Tasty Wine, got transplanted a little bit later, but still, that does not account for the difference in size and vigor. I really think that the Firebird Sweet is a much stronger grower. Very impressed with it overall. And here we have our nursery bin for our pepper plants. On the left we have Tangerine Dreams, 3 of them. In the center and front we have a Shashito, and behind that one we have 2 King Star Lingrias. And in the far right row, they're all 3 Shashitos. The Shashitos will be transplanted to their own bin soon. We're hoping to have a winter harvest out of all of these. The largest of the Tangerine Dream is destined for my dad, as well as that tomato plant that we showed you earlier. We also have a NuMex Suave Orange pepper plant. This one was transplanted from soil to hydro. It was growing on our back deck in a pot in a shaded area. It was started late in April, so it didn't really get a real fighting chance at setting fruit between the late start and the subpar growing conditions. So we opted to relocate it inside. We cut it back hard, washed off all of the soil, washed the plant itself with a mild dish soap solution to get rid of any aphids or other Klingons, and opted to plant it into a DWC container. This way the aeration, we hoped, would help the roots to establish themselves to the new hydro growing environment, and it seems to have worked very well. It took roughly 3 weeks for it to adapt, and now it's putting on abundant foliage growth. It really seems to like these conditions. We're currently feeding it General Hydroponics Maxi Bloom at a ratio of 1.5 teaspoons per gallon of water. We find that with the peppers, since they are heavy feeders, a slightly stronger nutrient solution serves us and them very well. And we found that to be the case with our cucumbers and tomatoes as well in hydro. For us, tomatoes just don't have the richness of flavor unless they're properly nourished with a stronger nutrient solution. I don't know if you can see, but there's woody growth underneath the soft growth of the one that started in soil. So you have this very thick root that is the soil root versus the soft, tender roots that are the hydro roots. And here we have our Serranos. They have really been a lesson in patience for us. These were started in early March. They were transplanted to hydro. I'm reading the note to myself on the side of the growing chamber on April 8th. And we've had nothing but flower drop until recently. We implemented a fan to keep air movement. We've been agitating the plants not just with the fan but by hand to pollinate the flowers, and we've upped the nutrition from regular strength master blend as the fertilizer in the nutrient solution to General Hydroponics Maxi Bloom at a rate of 1.5 teaspoons per gallon. Pepper plants being heavy feeders, we just felt that perhaps they needed a nutrition boost in order to perform up to their potential. Behind our Serranos, we have a Caratino pepper plant. As you can see, it's producing lovely pods. They will ripen to a rich mahogany color. The flavor is sweet without any heat. They're a very dense plant. I keep pinching out leaves just to free up space for the flowers so that they can be pollinated, whether it be by us or by the fan. Otherwise, the leaves just hold them so tightly in place that I don't think pollination would be possible. We've already harvested a few, and we're looking forward to more. It's been a great experimental plant. And here we have our current indoor cucumber setup. It's an Excelsior pickle hybrid. It's done all right. I don't think that we'll be growing this type indoors again. I would like to try it outdoors come next growing season. We had far better results with the green light cultivar. We have Corinthos coming up with our next go around once these get replaced. We have the Corinto seedlings ready to go. They're in quart jars right now, and we'll keep them until we feel that the Excelsior will not be producing sufficiently to warrant its existence any longer, at which point we'll feed the scraps to the chickens. They simply adore it. These are the Corinto seedlings in the back in the burgundy jars that we plan to use to replace the Excelsior cucumbers in the not too distant future. I anticipate it would be sometime within the next 30 days that we'll be doing so. I have another Dwarf Firebird sweet tomato plant over here in the duct tape covered jar. And next to it I have a Rosy Finch dwarf tomato, cherry tomato plant. And this one is actually a clone off of a plant that we grew throughout the summer with abundant production, I must add. We found that you really need to be particular with your nutrients if you want to have tasty indoor tomatoes. They just don't seem to thrive unless they have extra nutrition. Behind the Rosy Finch, I have a cutting from my Siberian that was growing in a pot on the back deck. It's doing well. It's essentially a clone, so we just trimmed it, stuck it in a horticube, rooted it, and threw it in a hydro setup quickly. It's already developing flower blossoms. I'll probably just let it go through one fruit set and then we'll scrap it because it's going to really outgrow this environment. We don't have that much room available to us, and I have other plants that I'd much rather be growing. I anticipate that the Dwarf Firebird will produce the same size fruits with probably better flavor in a smaller footprint. So we'll keep you posted on that one. I generally keep these plants just to the right of my computer monitor under a small grow light for my own entertainment. In the back we have an Aji Pineapple that we rescued from our front porch. It was growing in the same vessel hydroponically until it was pretty well decimated by Japanese beetles. We brought it in, cut it back, cleaned it up, and it's recovered nicely. We even have fruit setting, so I'm very happy about that. We have our basil plant. We use basil to accent our salads. It's a Genovese type. We have a King Star Lingria seedling. This is the runt of the litter. It was planted at the same time as the others downstairs. I've been babying it, hopeful that it will rebound. We'll have to wait and see. Time will tell. We have some spearmint. We love our spearmint. I took a cutting off of one growing in soil on the back deck, rooted it in a horticube. It rooted beautifully. It's growing in a very small pill bottle, amber to block the sunlight and prevent algae growth. And because the opening is so small for a net pot, I used a scoop from a protein powder and just used a soldering iron to fashion some air holes and opened up the bottom as well, but I won't turn it over. I'll lose the plant and the pebbles and make a terrible mess. And we're starting some ginger with some rhizome from the grocery store. It's organic ginger. Inorganic ginger is often treated, and I'm not sure that we would have been able to grow anything. We have some nice buds starting. We're hopeful to see roots sometime soon. I made the mistake of starting it in a sealed Ziploc bag originally with a very wet paper towel, and I noticed a small amount of mold growth, at which time I quickly removed it from the bag, washed it off well to get rid of the mold, sprayed it down with a mild solution of water and hydrogen peroxide, and I haven't seen any mold return, so far so good. And the buds have started growing since all of that, so we're hopeful. Because our furnace room is simply too warm to support cool weather crops, we've set up a growing station upstairs. And here we have some lettuce, some broccoli rabe, some bok choy, more choy that needs to be transplanted. Daniel is in the process of painting some downspouts for me and trying some textured paints as well, just for visual interest. So we'll update you with those as they become available. And we wish you well. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.